Good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all doing today? How y'all feeling? Y'all gonna catch this later. Some of y'all, I'm a little delayed because, of course, as soon as you wake up, it's Monday, and I have all the emails, all the phone calls that I need to answer that seem very urgent. So it has delayed me this morning. However, I have told you guys that I'm committed to going, and so because I'm committed to going, I'm gonna keep going. So good morning. How y'all doing? I'm gonna tag a couple people to come in the room, and that's gonna be that. Say good morning when you come on, so I know that you're watching. But like I said, it's always gonna be something. It's always gonna be some form of emergency. It's always gonna be something that somebody needs, that somebody feels like is the most important thing. And so I've been sitting here probably for the last 30 minutes trying to hit this go live button. Um, but every time I tried to hit the go live button, it was another text, it was another email, it was another something that came through that hindered me from hitting this go live button. However, we're here, and that's another thing that I want to talk about this morning. If you guys seen the post that I made last night, I was talking about being extremely intentional, right? Being very, very, very intentional about what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, what it is that you're pursuing, what it is you're going after. Because a lot of times we could talk about a lot of the things that we want to do. Say good morning. I see some of y'all on. Say good morning, Sunday watching. But we could talk about a lot of the things that we want to do, that we desire, that we want to go after. However, the intentionality behind what we do and how we do it determines the outcome, right? That determines the results. And so oftentimes there is a desire for results. However, there is a lack of planning so that we see results. There is a desire for results. There's a desire to see our end goal. There's a desire to obtain whatever it is that we're going after. However, there is oftentimes a lack of effort on our part in order for it to come to fruition. So, for example, I'll use me, right? I desire to go live. I want to go live. However, the intentionality sometimes, but behind the pursuit is not always there, right? Because it's the being prepared. It's not letting distractions get in my way. It's not allowing, just because somebody messages, text, whatever, to hinder me from whatever I'm trying to do. And so sometimes you can be like, man, I'm going to sit down and write this chapter of my book. And the next thing you know, here comes all the text. Here comes all the messages. Here comes all the people that need all the things in this very moment. And then you look up and it's an hour later and you're like, dang. You know how many times like you're like, when I get in the house, I'm gonna clean up, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z. However, by the time you get in the house to try to go after whatever, somebody done called you about something, and sometimes the phone call don't mean nothing. Sometimes you're not even talking about nothing. Sometimes the conversation doesn't entail anything that is of importance right now in this moment. However, we don't know how to tell people no. We don't know how to tell people, hey, not right now. We don't know how to tell people like this is not the moment. We don't know how to tell people that I have something else I need to do in this present time. And so the intentionality behind what we do is extremely important. And so if you want to see results, if you want to see the end goal, if you want to see the thing that you've been asking for, praying for, seeking for, it's going to require you to be intentional about what it is that you are doing. It doesn't matter how many text messages you get. It doesn't matter how many phone calls you get. It doesn't matter how many emails you get. If you say that you're going to do something at this time, it's going to require you to follow through. So the example I gave last night is even like vacation, right? So sometimes I get people that say they don't know how to necessarily research what they want to do. They don't know how to research their business. They don't know how to research what it is that they're pursuing. However, you don't have no problem trying to find the lowest flight, right? You don't have no problem looking for an inexpensive resort. You don't have no problem, going after and looking up all the different kind of things. Good morning, Ashley. You don't have no issues when it comes time to doing something that is fun, right? We don't have no issues when it's time to find all the different things to go along with your trip. You got the excursions down pat. When people are like, what's your itinerary look like? That itinerary for your business, but for your vacation is amazing. However, what does the itinerary for your life look like? right? Like, what does that itinerary look like for what it is that you're trying to go after? If you can research a flight, you can research your business. If you can research your resorts, you can research your business. And so oftentimes when it comes to those aspects, it's funny when it comes to those fast aspects of life, researching your business, your goal, you're looking for somebody to give you a handout, right? People are like, oh, people gatekeep. No, we don't gatekeep. The reality is that we went after what we wanted to do. We pursued what we wanted. And so because we pursued it and we got the results, now we're gatekeeping because we don't want to unravel all of the work that we put in. Meanwhile, you're not willing to put in the work however you want the results. That's not fair, right? Like you weren't with that person in those late night hours. You weren't with them, when we were trying things and things were failing, and we were trying things and things were failing, and we were trying things, y'all, and they were failing in the moments in our low place. And then we experienced these high places. And as soon as we experience the high places, a lot of times, then now people want to kind of get on board and be like, well, what did you do? I did the work. And so the same level of intensity that we put behind our trips, our vacations, the fun things, all the look good moments that we want to experience, right? The same the endurance, you're staying up late. Let me see where the flights is at. You're staying up late, like, oh man, like, is this flight is gonna be lower in the morning? It's gonna be lower today. Like, you're checking that thing around the clock. But are you checking your business around the clock? Are you checking your children around the clock? Are you checking your relationships around the clock? Are you checking your marriage the same way? So oftentimes, the same level that we put into the fun, y'all, we got to be willing to put that same work, the same level of intensity and work behind the things that we're trying to pursue. Because it's not always going to be pretty. Come on, it's not always going to look good. Writing the book, it takes time. And I can just use that as an example because the mindset that you have to write a book, the tenacity, the endurance that you have to pursue after in order for you to complete a book is not always easy, right? But we love creating the cover. We love the launch parties. However, it takes work. When I was writing my book, Get This Baby Out of Me, I told you guys, I literally sacrificed day and night. I would work 10 hours, talk to my children, feed my children, go to my room, and I would write. I was on the road. I was texting my book, driving 10 hours to Maryland. I was texting my book, walking 4 miles in the morning. Why? Because I knew that I needed to finish this book. And I knew that my time was very limited. So although I wanted and desired the vacations and all those moments, however, my desire for finishing my book overrided all of that. Even right now in this moment, I put up like, I'm ready to go to the beach. I am so ready. However, right now in this moment, I can't. Because there's some things that I need to align myself. And it's not even about, let me tell you this, it has nothing to do with engagements. It has nothing to do with nothing. Can I tell y'all, this moment right now that I'm in has everything to do with me. Has everything to do with I need to settle my mind. Has everything to do with I need to center myself. It has everything to do with I need to gather me together. Because I've been here, there, and everywhere. And so I'm taking a moment to get myself together, to get my house together, to get my children together, spend time with my children, because the end of my year is crazy. So I'm learning how to maximize these moments. Now, am I going to get to the beach in a couple weeks? Absolutely. However, I'm understanding the intentionality behind what I'm doing right now in this moment. And so if you want to see results, the same level of intensity that we put behind planning our vacations is the same level of intensity I need you to put behind your goals, your dreams, what you're trying to accomplish. Where are you going? So I hear you saying, I want my business to flourish, but I don't see the work behind what you're trying to do. I don't see the research behind what you're trying to do. However, I do see a lot of times we want to cut corners. But let me tell y'all something about the process of building, right? That the low moments have helped me understand and build towards the high moments. And so sometimes we want to overshadow or overlook, or we don't want to endorse certain things. However, if I did not know what it was like to go through certain situations, I'm gonna try to find one. So, okay, example. So, in my earlier time of building, I linked up with this guy, with this lady, and this lady was telling me about this guy. And this guy, he had the potential to help me expand my business in a certain type of way. However, my business was going at the rate that it was already going, and it was going at a good rate, and I was fine and I was comfortable. But then, because sometimes in our own mind we don't feel like we're making the proper decision. Sometimes we overthink a thing, and we end up blessings. Pastor Rashad, sometimes we end up linking up with people that we think have the potential to carry us to another place or to do something different with what we're trying to build. However, you are already building the way you were supposed to build. So I ended up linking up with this gentleman, and he was telling me I needed to create all these things, do this with your business, do that, right? It was the wrong decision to make. I should have never aligned myself with this because my business was not at that level. I told y'all a couple weeks ago that there's levels to this, right? And so it's okay to allow your business to build. Sometimes you're trying to expand your business to a place that you don't have the capacity for. So ended up linking up with this guy. He told me to do X, Y, and Z, and ended up messing up some things. And I wasted money and I wasted time. And I ain't talking about a little bit of money, okay? I wasted money and I wasted time because I was thinking that I was doing the wrong thing. I was aligning myself because with other people that are on another level than I was. And I'm like, I'm not even there yet. And so I understand. This is why I can teach to you, hey, there's levels to this. Stay in your lane as long as you can until there is a push. I told y'all, a couple years ago, I was like, man, I want to expand. I want to get another salon. However, the Lord stopped me in my tracks. This is why you got to be connected to him. The Lord stopped me in my tracks and he said, listen, you're not ready. You're not ready, not because your mindset is not ready, but because you have not maximized where you are right now. Until there is a need for expansion, you don't need to expand. So sometimes we want to do things because in our mind we're like, oh, I just want to build it like this and I want it to look like this. Yes, I would love to be able to rebuild and do some things with my salon. However, the Lord said maximize where you are now. And once you maximize and you've maxed out, come on, maximize means to max out. Once you max out where you are, then expand, then move, then grow. However, being able to recognize where you are right now and where you're trying to be. So what I'm trying to say is this. Sometimes we feel like we're not where we're supposed to be. Sometimes we feel like we're supposed to be in another position. Sometimes we even overthink where we are right now based off of where other people are. If you're just now joining, this is considered my go moment. I'm learning to just go and talk when the Lord says go and talk whenever I feel it. And so I'm just talking about today intentionality. Like whatever you want, you have to be intentional about getting it. It's not going to fall in your lap. You're going to have to create a plan for it to come. The Bible tells us to write the vision and make it plain, right? The end of it, he talks about that he that readeth may run, right? They will get on board with what they see. Can I tell y'all, this even includes banks. This even includes coaches and mentors. This includes people that have the capacity to shift you. And the reason why some of you guys, there's no shifting because you don't have no vision. You don't have no vision. And this even goes for ministry and churches. Yes, we have the Great Commission that we follow. Hey, Keisha, we have the Great Commission that we follow. However, hear me. There's levels to this. And so, yes, I am following after the Great Commission. However, what is the vision for what God is giving you for the territory that you're in? What is the vision that God is giving you for the region that you're in? What is the vision for God is giving you for the placement of where your ministry is? Because sometimes I feel like we're looking at, even the ministry part. For those of you that are ministry leaders, you're looking at the ministry part and you're like, ooh, who you're going to touch online. I'm not worried about who I'm touching online. I'm concerned about my community and who I'm touching in-house. That's who is what matters. I'm concerned about the people that are around me. Hello, Miss Joyce. I'm concerned about the people that are around me that I'm touching every day. And so although I got a salon, right? I got a salon. So my vision, what I'm creating, my community, I'm concerned about the people that come into my salon. I'm not concerned about the people that buy products online. I'm not concerned about my virtual consultations. Are they a part of what I'm building and I'm naturally going to get them because I go live, because I have products online? Absolutely. However, if I'm thinking forward movement, what I do is in-house. So I have to be concerned about the environment. That's going to be first priority. The environment of what I'm building in my salon is number one. So whatever I create outside of that is just an addition to what I'm already building inside. So again, the intentionality behind what you're building is so important. So if I can sit down and I can research all of these flights and I can be like, ooh, I'm going to Miami, I'm going to Puerto Rico, I'm going to Jamaica, and when I get to these places, this is where I'm going to stay, this is where I don't want to stay. You didn't research that thing in and out. What are the amenities? What do you offer? What do you not offer? What are the resort fees? Right? We didn't add it all it up. You can do the same thing with your business. How much is it going to cost us to start this business? How much does the equipment charge? How much is the equipment? Right? I done came up with the equipment. Okay, how much am I going to charge? Because I know how much it's going to cost me. But the same level of intensity, right? The same intentionality is all I'm saying behind. We got to catch up. Come on, somebody drop in the chat, intentional. I'm going to be intentional. You can't keep saying, hey, I'm gonna be honest. I struggle right now, with this relationship aspect, right? I'm gonna tell you why I struggle. Now, this is not all men, it's some men. Not all men, it's some men. Not all men, just some of the ones I've experienced. Now, men, if you on the line and you watching later, I love y'all. However, the ones I've come in contact with are not intentional. I struggle because when you first meet, there is a desire for things. However, the intentionality behind what you're telling me is not existent. So you can't tell somebody you want to be with them. However, you're not doing the things that it takes to be with that person. Period. So if you can do all the other things, then you can be intentional about relationships. So until you're intentional and I know you're serious, then it's not going to work. However, all I'm saying is whatever you want to do, you got to go after it. Whatever I'm saying is that you got to have a plan, right? There's some of you that people call you the organizer. She's so organized. She's going to have everything together. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to your own life, this is what I'm saying is where there is a lack. We struggle, right? All the advice in the world, but when it comes to us, we don't know how to take it. You can help everybody else, but when it comes to yourself, there's a lack. And I don't want to say that you don't love yourself, because I really believe that we do. We love ourselves, right? I want to believe that we love ourselves. But can I say this? That I struggle with, do we really love ourselves as much as we say that we love ourselves when we're not intentional behind our actions? Do you love yourself enough to do the work? Do you love yourself enough to create the plan? Do you love yourself enough sometimes even to heal? Right? Because some of us, we can't even build because we're not healed. You can't build because you're not healed. And so you're trying to build. However, this is what I'm talking about in August, but my trauma keeps showing up. Miss Joyce said, I'm going to be intentional. Intentional was the word God gave me at the beginning of this year, but not just intentional, but consistent. Absolutely. Consistent and intentional go hand in hand. Being consistent, being intentional go hand in hand. Because what I told you, consistency is showing up. This is what the goal moment is about. I have to be consistent. I have to show up, even in the moments when I don't want to show up. Right? Even when I don't feel like nobody wants to hear what I got to say, I still got to show up. I got to show up even when I may even have 1,000,001 things on my plate. I still got to show up because this is still a part of my responsibility and my assignment. But like I was saying, is that some of us cannot build correctly because we're not healed. And we have not done the work to be healed. Right? There's work you have to do to be healed. It's a conscious decision that you have to make to be healed. There are moments, yes, then God will take addictions away. He will take certain things away. But even in him taking it away, you still have to set boundaries. You still have to be intentional about maintaining your deliverance, right? And so it's the same thing with being healed. I always say is that healing is a choice. I don't care what nobody say. It's a decision that you have to make daily, not to live in that moment. I was talking to a young lady yesterday, and we was talking about forgiveness, and forgiveness is being able to be free from the emotion of the trauma, right? Being free of the emotional attachment that you have. No one is saying that you'll forget it because you forgive. Forgiveness and forget is two different things. All right, hear me. Forgetting something and forgiveness are two different things. So when someone is saying forgive, they're not saying forget. However, they're asking you to relinquish the emotional attachment that you have to the trauma, that you have to the pain, so that it does not control you. So when I say, hey, Ashley, I need you to forgive, I'm not saying, hey, forget whatever they did to you. What I'm saying is that I need you to release the emotional attachment that you have connected to whatever somebody did to you. I need you to release that. Because the emotional aspect of what you are holding on to is what's holding you up. I'm going to say that again. The emotional attachment to what you are holding on to is what's holding you up. And so because you are emotionally attached to this thing, every time somebody says their name, every time somebody brings it up, it takes you back to a place that whatever you have gained, whatever ground that you have gained, you lose it. You lose it. You're doing, like, example, right? You know, you're in a marriage, somebody does something. You know what I'm saying? Somebody messes up. Let's just talk about it, all right? And so we're asking you, hey, I need you to forgive them. No one is saying that because they did what they did. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to stay here real quickly. Because they did what they did to you, they get a pass. I'm not saying they get a pass because they hurt you. I'm not saying they get a pass because they violated your relationship. What we're asking is that in true forgiveness fashion, right? That I have to relinquish the emotional attachment that I have to what you did to me, so that I can move forward, so I don't get stuck. And so even in forgiveness and healing, it requires you to be intentional. Why does it require you to be intentional? Because it's a decision that I have to make. It's a decision that you have to make to shift and move past it, to not allow it to hurt you, to not allow it to continue to keep you stuck in this place where you can't give and receive love. It's a decision. So if you want to be healed, if you're saying, hey, I want to be healed, I want to move on, you can. It's a decision. But like I keep telling you guys, the reason why many people struggle with moving past their pain is because they can't get past being a victim. Good morning, Kashana. You can't get past that. If I say I forgive you, if I decide to heal, it makes it seem like you get a pass for what you did to me. It's just a reality. I know that the person has done you wrong. I know the person has hurt you. However, me allowing myself to heal, my God, me giving myself permission to heal doesn't give them a pass. It gives me the choice to not live in my pain. I'm helping somebody this morning. Come on. The Bible says what? That I come that you might have life, and to have life more abundantly. You're not living the abundant life that he has called for you to live because of the simple fact that I cannot get past what someone has done to me. It's a decision. It's a decision you got to make. And so the reason why I can't be intentional about building my business, I cannot be intentional about building my life, my relationships, because I'm not healed. I'm not healed. Some of you can't write the book because you're not healed. You're not healed yet. You're not ready. And so because you're not ready, if you write the book, it's just going to be a trigger for you. It's going to keep taking you back. Now, there are some people, as I'm walking them through the book process, I tell them you need to go to therapy because you are reliving certain things depending upon the how the book is going. Yeah, you need therapy. You're gonna need some coaching because I can't let you get stuck in the pain of your writing because you will. And it's the same thing with building. And so a lot of times when I'm having my conferences, I'm talking to y'all right now, people get confused when I say, how does your trauma show up in your vision? What does that have to do? Oh, because you just ready to build, right? Y'all just ready to build these businesses. You ready to do this, da da da. Not realizing that your trauma is showing up. Your level of insecurity is showing up. You don't trust people and it shows up. And so because you don't trust people, now you're doing everything by yourself. Come here, pastors. I'm going to talk to you. You don't trust people. You haven't allowed yourself to be healed. So you're doing everything by yourself. However, you don't realize that you're really harming your ministry because you don't trust people. I know we don't like this kind of talk, but it's the truth. It shows up in everything that you build. If you're not healed and you keep finding yourself in a place of depression, your business can't move past you. And so if you're always depressed, your business looks like a yo-yo. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Some days you're present, sometimes you're not. Some days you're present, sometimes you're not. If people don't respond the way that you think that they're supposed to respond, because when you were younger, how people used to treat you, how your mama used to treat you, how your daddy used to treat you, and because your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother treat you a certain type of way, now you grow up, and because you weren't healed, now when people treat you a certain type of way, even in business, it starts to show up. So when people ask me, why do you talk about trauma in your conferences? I talk about trauma in conferences because I watch day in and day out how they show up. I watch it on my timeline every day. I watch people bleed every day. I can't say nothing every day because the Lord don't release me. Good morning, Summer. He don't release me to say something. And sometimes I'm not my business. But every day I look on my timeline and I'm watching how people's trauma is showing up. How you bleed on people. How you open people up. And you don't have the ability to close them. You get online and you just start talking. But at the end, where is the healing? Where is the deliverance? Where is the solutions? We can't open them up and not close them up. But see, the reason why you can't close nobody up if you're not healed. Which is why you get on here and you create these open-ended statuses and create these open-ended videos with no resolve at the end. And you leave people in an open place. You leave people triggered. What's the end result? Why? Why did we come and talk about this? Why did you go live and talk about these painful situations without giving people, come on, a result? That's just like in preaching, right? They teach you the open and the close, right? I could just talk about this, but you can relate it to whatever. And you can't get up and you talk about, man, you're going to hell and da-da-da, and this is what the Lord said, and the Lord said this, without coming back and giving people hope. So I can tell you, hey, listen, you got to heal before you start to build. Because if you don't, your trauma going to keep showing up in everything that you build. However, what am I telling you? That healing is a decision. I'm going to walk you through it. It's a decision that you got to make daily. Daily. You have to decide. Daily, you have to make the decision to heal. Daily, you have to say, hey, I'm not going to stay here. I don't belong here. I'm walking you through, what does forgiveness look like? What does healing look like? I'm not going to open you up and talk about, I know somebody did you wrong. However, they might have, but it's still your decision to make. You're not a victim. Yes, they harmed you, but you don't have to stay there. Come out. And so the same way I'm intentional about this aspect of my life, every aspect I got to be intentional. I don't want to just take vacations. Because let me help y'all really quickly. You can be intentional about creating a vacation. And when you get on that vacation, there's no freedom in that vacation. Can I tell you why? Because you're still concerned about what you got to do when you get back home. Because you ain't did the work. You go on vacation and you're still concerned about how am I going to build this business. No, you should have put some plan in motion to build your business before you decided to go on that vacation. Now, listen, there are moments when I do tell my people, listen, you do need to go away for a little bit. And my going away is not vacation. The going away is so that you can hear, so that you can meditate, so that you can find yourself in a quiet place. Like I said, I love the beach. And the beach is the place that I go for me to be able to sit and hear and gather myself, right? That's a difference than when I'm going on vacation. When I'm going on vacation, I'm not thinking about none of that stuff. I mean, absolutely nothing. So there's a difference. But when we go on vacation, I want to be free. Come on, anybody want to be free? Just drop free in the chat. When I go on vacation, I want to be free. I don't want to go and be thinking about all the things that I should have did before I left. I don't want to think about all the things I did not do before I left. But I want to be able to go and just enjoy myself. I want to be able to breathe. And so many times your vacation is not breathing because you've chosen a vacation over building. You've chosen vacation over making sure that things are put in place so that you can have success in your life. And so intentionality behind everything that you do. I know my coaching is very, very different than other people because I think people just want to get to the part where building, because building looks pretty, building looks nice, right? You know, everybody can see that. But the mindset part, people can't see. The healing part, people can't see. And so those parts are not pretty. Coming face to face with your pain is not pretty. But I got to tell you, if we don't deal with those painful, hurtful parts of our life, they bleed into whatever you are building. Ask yourself, why would these millionaires, billionaires commit suicide? Why? From the outside looking in, they got it all together. You got all the money and success in the world. Why would you kill yourself? Why? You ask them, why are they depressed? Why are they depressed? Is because we're so intentional about building, but we're not intentional about healing. You're not as intentional about your mental health as you are as the pursuit of success. So you ask yourself, they have all the money. I was just talking to my son the other day, and he was like, man, if I had money, I would never be sad. Yes, you would, if things wasn't the way they were supposed to be. And we say money don't buy us happiness. Come on, listen, let's just talk about it, right? Relationships. You know, these girls that like, I want me a six-figure man. You want a man, da-da-da-da. You know, you want a man that has all this money. You want a man that can provide you with a lifestyle. However, the internal work of what it takes to maintain a marriage is lacking. They don't have it. They don't have the capacity for the internal because of whatever they got going on. Sometimes the life that they live doesn't require them to even have the capacity to maintain a relationship. However, the money that they provide you think is enough. Oh, I know I'm talking good today, and I don't care if it's the little bit of people that's on here today. Whoever needs to hear this, we keep not me, because I'm not a six-figure, whatever the type of people they think, whatever man, you know, that's not my focal point. There's other things I'm concerned about. But when it pertains to that, do you know what it takes to maintain a man of that caliber? Do you know, man, what it takes to maintain the caliber of that woman? And so, do you know what it takes to maintain the capacity level that it takes to maintain whatever it is that you're pursuing? You have to be intentional. It ain't gonna just fall in your lap. So that's all I came to talk about today, is we can't keep talking about the want better. I desire better. I want this, without being willing to put in the work to get it. And relationships, a lot of times, is the best way that I can explain what I'm saying. Because a lot of times, relationships now have become the focal point. The pop out and be married. To pop out and be in relationships, it's not just even romantic relationships. We would desire the platonic relationships, but in both aspects, it requires a level of intentionality. It requires a level of vulnerability, right? It takes work, and work that we got to be willing to do to maintain it and keep it. So with our mouth, we can't keep saying we desire something, but our actions don't align with what's coming out of our mouth. And the Bible says, what? Faith without works, good morning, sis. Faith without works is dead, right? Faith without works is dead. This is why I can say that faith plus strategy equals results. Because it's going to take faith and strategy for me to get what it is I desire. They both got to be present. They both got to be they both got to be working hand in hand. Faith without works is dead. Yes, life and death is in the power of what we speak. We're gonna continue to say that because it is. Your language is important. So whatever you desire is can I tell you is whatever you desire, right? The more you speak it, it is what you're going to see. Because that's going to be the perception of what you've said. So if you keep on saying that, you ain't never gonna have it. If you keep on saying it, it's never gonna show up. If you keep on saying I'm never gonna heal, this is the one phrase is I'm never gonna get over it. You're never gonna get over it. Right? If you keep saying I'm never gonna get over what you did to me, you'll never get over it. Because you'll never be able to see past what that person did. If you keep saying, man, I ain't never gonna have no business, you ain't never gonna have no business. Because you ain't never gonna take the steps that you need to take in order for you to see the business. I ain't never gonna get married. Oh, you will never get married because you'll never position yourself for marriage to find you. You'll never position yourself for a relationship, for a man or woman to find you. Why? Because your language has already said, I'm never going to. So even if somebody wants to present themselves to you, because your language has already said you're never going to, the perception of it, you'll never receive it. I'm never going to get there, and you won't. Because you've already spoken that you're never going to get there, you also never take the steps to get there. Why? Because you're thinking that it's going to fall in your lap. That's the thing about being intentional. If you want it, you got to go get it. If you want to be healed, you got to go get it. If you want to be in a relationship, you got to go get it. And I'm not saying that you pursue after something that doesn't belong to you, or pursue in that way, or ladies, that you're just trying to do all the things. However, you can be healed, you can position yourself, you do have to go outside, you do have to meet people, you do have to answer DMs, you do have to say hello to people. You can't think that you're going to be in a relationship and you don't want to speak. How does that work? It don't work. They say hi and you don't want to say hi back. They say you look nice and you think that they just trying to, get over on you. She say hi and you think she just wants your money. She asked you a question because women were planners. And so women ask you, what do you do for a living? Why does it matter? I'm just asking a question. But this is what happens when you're not healed, because your trauma start to show up, right? Your trauma start to come in the room. And so when it happened to DMs, they be like, hey, how you doing? You look nice. Hey, whatever. Say hi back. Because if you want to be in a relationship, you're going to have to speak. How does this work? You know what I'm saying? How? Good morning. Good morning, Pastor Teresa. So listen, all I'm saying is we got to be intentional. All I'm saying is whatever you desire, you want, you got to go get it. You got to open yourself up. You got to find yourself in a healed place so that whatever it is, you can receive it. I know it's hard because some of us, when you've been hurt for so long and you've been done so wrong, it's hard for you to heal. It's hard for you to open up. But I'm the type of person, everybody's not like me, right? But my thing is, I can't let somebody else live in something. I can't allow somebody else to live in something that they did not do, right? I can't let somebody pay for something that they did not do. I'm so thankful I did accept the call, accept that man. With the call, right? So all I'm saying is that you got to be intentional. Okay, guys, listen. We want better. We want to do better. We want success. We want to see success. But the only way it shows up is if we make the conscious moves to get there. Like they say, you can't keep saying you want to lose weight, but you don't eat right. You don't make good decisions. You don't go to the gym, right? I don't have nobody to blame with where I am right now but myself. Okay? I haven't been making good choices. I haven't been able to do the things that I needed to do. And I can't blame nobody but myself because I ain't lost the weight that I wanted to lose. So it takes intentionality on my part. So that's why I said, wait a minute, I need to sit with myself. And I need to look. I need to be like, girl, what's going on? Assess your life so I can get myself together. So that I can see the results I want to see. Because I can't look up and be like, Shauna, it's your fault that I ain't lost what I wanted to lose. I can't look up and be like, Teresa, it's your fault I'm not in the place I want to be in. And that's what we like to do. We like to blame everybody else. Some of y'all still blaming your mama and your daddy, your sister, your brother, your grandmama for where you are right now. However, you are an adult. You are an adult. And the decisions now are yours to make. And it's up to you. But I had to give myself the proper amount of time to heal completely from spiritually to physically. I realized before I wasn't healed completely. Absolutely. That's that self-awareness. You know, when you come to terms with the fact that, hey, I'm not healed. Hey, I'm not ready. But she said she had to give herself the proper amount of time to heal before she could answer the call. And so sometimes we can desire something so much, but you got to be willing to do the work. That's right. We are responsible. This is the thing. It's not just God. We partner with him. Everywhere in the word, it's a partnership. Y'all go read. I know we get these prophetic words and it says all the things that we're supposed to get, but I promise y'all, when I'm reading my Bible, okay, I don't know about your Bible, when I'm reading my Bible, I keep reading in my Bible where there is a responsibility on me. Example, I talk about this all the time, but I'm just gonna go there and then I'll keep moving, right? Even when he talks about the he that dwells in the secret place, right? We say, pray that over your life. Oh, yes, it has so many things in it. However, the first line says that he that dwells in the secret place, he that dwells in him. These are the things that you obtain by being intentional about who I gotta go, y'all. But this is what happens when you are intentional about your dwelling. You shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. But that comes by me being intentional about my dwelling. The Bible says the Lord is my shepherd and I shall not want, right? However, I got to let the Lord shepherd me. I can't just allow myself to want to be and do what I want to do. I don't want for nothing. Why? Because he's my shepherd. But it don't work if you don't want him to shepherd you. He'll give you pastors after your own heart. He will after his own heart. However, if you don't let your pastor shepherd you or allow your pastor to pastor you, then you're not going to receive the benefits of what comes after. Come on, you can't keep desiring something without willing to doing the work that it takes to maintain it. I got to let him. That's it. I got to let him shepherd me. I have to dwell in him. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Under the shadow, under the protection of what he gives to me comes by me making a decision to be intentional about my dwelling. Yes, the Lord can bless you with a car. However, he would not bless you with a car without giving you what it takes to maintain it. He's not going to give you something that you got to toil over. He's not going to give you something that is going to take you over in your mind and you just so upset and you just hanging on by a thread. They say you house poor, right? You got this big old house, but you can't do nothing outside of it. All I'm saying is for whatever we desire, for whatever we want, for whatever we want to see, it takes a level of intentional. And that includes our walk with Christ. I can desire things all day long. I can hear what I hear what they're telling me. However, if you keep reading, if you read up above what it says, the Bible says all things work together for the good to them that love God and to them that are called according to his purpose. It works together if you love God. I mean, that's what the Bible say. I don't know if I'm reading something different. But if I'm intentional about loving him, all things will work together. It says to them that love God. That's what the Bible say. I have to be intentional about my relationship with God. Because I know this, if I'm walking with him, my Lord, and he has allowed something to happen in my life, it's got to work for me. But if I don't love him, if I'm not following him, if I'm not in relationship with him, I can't say that anything I do outside of his will is going to work for me. I know we don't like this kind of church, but I can't keep telling you that it's going to work for you if I know what you're doing is outside of the will of God. But I know that when I operate in his will, because I love him, he says, if you love me, you'll keep my commandments. Come on, if you love him, when you love somebody and you're in relationship with them, whatever I'm doing, it's not to harm. It's not to hurt. Because I love God, I follow him. So even when something is bad, even if it's a bad situation, I know it's got to work for me. Why? Because it says all things work together to them that love him. And because I know he loves me and because I love him, whatever I'm going through, come on, whatever you're going through right now, you can honestly say it's working for me. I went through some painful situations a couple years ago, and I said, God, because I know that I'm operating under your will and I'm doing what you're telling me to do, come on, it's got to work for me. It's working for me. Which is why I didn't have time. Come on. When you're in him, I didn't have time to stay in my pain. I didn't have time to stay in the betrayal. I didn't have time to stay in what they did to me. Why? Because I know that because I'm in his will, that it's got to work for me. Come on, somebody drop in the chat. It's got to work for me. I know it's got to work for me. I know in the end it's going to work. Why? Because I love God and he loved me and I'm in relationship with him. And so if he allowed something, come on, if he allowed that detour to take place, if he allowed that crash to take place, if he allowed that pain to take place, I know it's got to work for me. Shauna, it's got to work. The good and the bad, it's got to work. It's got to work for me. Why? Because I love him. And so because I love him, it ain't going to be wasted. It works or it don't work. Been in positions where I had a shop full of people and I lost all the people. Had a shop full of people and lost all the people. But can I tell y'all, I still got my shop. I ain't never wanted for nothing. My kids don't want for nothing. Has it been difficult? Oh, yes. Has it been hard? Yes. Have I cried? Absolutely. But am I still standing? Yes. Is my shop still standing? Yes. It worked for me. It's got to work. It's got to work. He gave it to me. I gave y'all that testimony a couple days ago where I walked into this ready-made shop. When I pursued after trying to build out my own, it didn't work. My Lord, it didn't work. It didn't work. But just because that didn't work didn't mean that it was never going to work. Can I encourage somebody today? Just because that didn't work don't mean it's not going to work. So just because that business didn't work out, that aspect of the business didn't work out, that plan didn't go through, doesn't mean that it's not going to work. It's going to work. Just because that relationship didn't work, don't mean that no relationship is going to work. It just means that one didn't work out. Just because you did it that way and it didn't quite pan out doesn't mean that when you do it this way, it's not going to work. It's going to work. It's got to work. Why? Because I love God. Now, if you don't love him, I don't know. You need to work on that. But I love God. And because I love him so much, I realize that I feel the Lord, any loss, come on, that I've had to take it doesn't mean that I'm lost. Come on. I taught this last year sometime. I said, I may have lost. However, I'm not lost. And sometimes we think that every time we take a L, it means that we are lost. However, you're not. Just because you took a L in that area, come on, just because you took a L in that moment, it don't mean, my God, y'all, it don't mean I'm lost. It don't mean I'm lost. So some of you like, God, I took a L on that. But the Lord wanted me to encourage you today, but you're not lost. The Lord says, I know exactly where you are. He says, I know where you are. The Lord has He says, I got a tracker on you. He says, I know how to locate you. Even in your darkest place, Vaughn, the Lord says, I know how to locate you. And so although you have suffered great loss in your life, the Lord wanted me to remind somebody today that you are not lost. I know something was pulled away that you thought was going to be yours. However, the Lord says you're not lost. He says, I know how to locate you. I know exactly where you are. And sometimes what the Lord will allow us to do is get to this place that brings us closer to him. So you're not lost. They picked you up. I hear you in the spirit. They picked you up and they dropped you. Come on. It ain't nothing like somebody saying, come with me. I got something for you. I want to help you. And in the middle of the trip, I hear the Holy Ghost. In the middle of the trip, in the middle of where you're going right now, they say, I'm going to drop you off at this gas station. However, we're not at the location that you told us that we were supposed to be. I hear this in the spirit. You dropped me off somewhere else. You said, hey, go on this journey with me. But you dropped me off somewhere else than where we were supposed to be. But the Lord wanted me to tell you, I got a tracker on you and I know how to locate you. Oh, this is good to me. He says, I got a tracker and I know exactly where you are. And so although they dropped you, although they left you, although they didn't take you where they said that they were going to take you, the Lord has somebody that has the ability to pick you up and get you where you need to be. That leader left you, that man left you, that woman left you, whoever it was, they say, come with me. I got you. We going somewhere. Come on, we building something. They were your business partner. They said, listen, if you come with me, we're going to rock this thing out together. However, halfway through the journey, they dropped you. Come on, halfway through the journey, all the promises that they gave you are now null and void. You are nowhere to be found. But I came to tell somebody this morning, he just dropped this in my spirit, that he says, I know how to locate you. And although you have lost, the Lord said, you're not lost. You're not. He knows exactly where you are. The Lord says, I know exactly where you are. And the greatest thing that I love about him is that he knows how to get people to us. That's why I always pray the prayer. I say, God, I thank you for strategy. Thank you. I thank you for divine navigation. When I'm praying over your life, I say, God, send somebody wherever they are. I might not be able to get to Shauna. I can't reach her. However, I can say, God, I need you to get somebody. Come on, those of you that are married, sometimes you are not the one that is going to reach your spouse. Sometimes you got to be like, God, I need you to send somebody, call their name out. I need you to send somebody to him that can speak to him. Oh my God. Come on. This is the prayer that I need you to pray. God, send somebody. Come on. I need you to send somebody that can locate them. Although you call 911, they're not the ones that show up on the scene. 911 are just the people. I feel the Holy Ghost. 911 are just the people that take the call. But they're the ones that dispatch. Hey, they're the ones that dispatch. the people to locate you. I came to tell somebody today that the Lord said you picked up the phone and you dialed 911, and I'm getting ready to dispatch somebody on your behalf. I'm getting ready to send the person that can locate you, that's going to find you. Ooh, this is good to me. You call 911 and you say, listen, I have an emergency. I'm somewhere I did not think that I was going to be. My God, you have called to God and you say, God, I'm somewhere I never thought I would find myself in. And God, I need you to send somebody to locate me. I need you to send somebody to find me. And then you come in contact with people like Noel. They're like, listen, we found you. Come on in. When the cop gets there, he says, you can come out of hiding. It's okay. Have you ever been watching a movie? I was watching something the other day, and she was on the phone with 911, and she was inside the closet, and he was saying, this is what I want you to do. He says, I want you to open up a window. He was giving her direction. He was giving her strategy, and tell the person, my God, could locate her. The 911 dispatcher begin to give strategy. Can I tell you that until the moment where there is a breakthrough, the Lord will begin to give you strategy to keep you safe. He will say, I need you to shut your mouth. He will tell you, I need you to position yourself. He will tell you, I need you to find yourself in a hidden place. He will tell you all the things that he needs you to do until the appointed time for you to come out. And so I'm watching this movie, y'all, and then I gotta go. I'm watching this movie, and in the movie, the 911 tells her, he says, open the window. And after you open the window, I want you to find yourself in the closet. I want you to shut it, and I need you to hide. He says, I don't want you to come out until you hear this code word. He said, don't come out until you hear this word, because once you hear this word, you're going to know that you are safe. Until you hear the code word, that's when you know that you are safe. The opening up the window was just a distraction for them for the attacker to believe that she was out the window. However, she didn't really go out the window. It was a strategy that the 911 caller gave her, because the 911 caller, it wasn't their job to come and get her. They cannot physically go and get everybody. However, it's their job to go and send somebody to get to you. What I'm saying to you guys this morning is that God is saying today that I heard your call. I heard your cry. I heard you say 911. God, I need you to get me out of here. He heard when you said, God, I can't take no more. And he said, I'm going to give you the strategy. Come on. But you just got to be willing to listen. I'm going to give you the strategy to get out. He says, I'm going to give you the strategy to get out. You just got to be willing to listen. I know it sounds crazy for me to tell you to open up the window. I know it sounds crazy for me to tell you to go hide in that closet. I know it sounds crazy for me to tell you to get under the cabinet. However, follow the instructions. I don't care how crazy the instructions get. The Lord wants you to follow the instructions. He needs to make sure that you're safe. Come on. He needs to make sure you are safe until he can get to the people can get to you that need to get to you. The Lord says, I know how to locate you. The 911 caller, they know how to locate you. They know how to find you. They know how to put all the different parameters together. They know how to put the pieces together. So it don't always make sense what the Lord is asking you to do. It won't. But I need you to follow the instructions. I need you to be intentional about your own healing. I need you to be intentional. Oh, I feel the Lord, about your own rescuing. It would make no sense for me to call 911. I feel the Lord today. Listen, y'all, those of you that are watching, tag 2 friends, but stay right here and don't get off. Okay. Because the ones that are on here today, y'all need to hear this. It would make no sense for me to call 911, but then do all the things that are opposite that the 911 is instructing me to do. If I started making noise, Oh, God. If I start making noise, the enemy can find me. That's why the enemy has told some of us God has told some of us to shut our mouth. Because it's until you start opening up your mouth, that's how the enemy can locate you. Ooh, hear me today. The Lord told you to shut up. Stop telling the plans. Stop telling people where you are. The reason why he's telling you to do that is not because he don't want you to have all the things. He's telling you this is because every time you open up your mouth, you give the enemy opportunity to locate you. So it makes no sense for you to call 911 and say, God, get me out of here. And then when the 911, when God tells you to shut your mouth, I need you to be hidden. I need you not to say nothing. I need you to mind your business. And then you begin to open up your mouth. Now you've allowed the enemy to find you. This is my struggle with social media. I've always had this struggle. Can I tell y'all why? I've had this struggle with social media because until some of you begin to post and open up your mouth about certain things, the enemy can't find you. He's confused. He don't know which way you going. He don't know if you happy. He don't know if you sad. He don't know if you depressed. He don't know if you suicidal. He don't know nothing. But let me tell you what you do. You get on social media and you're pulled in because Facebook asks you what's on your mind. I'm talking this morning. Facebook asked you what's on your mind. And because you just got to get out what's on your heart to say, and you're not willing to wait for God to rescue you, when Facebook asks you what's on your mind, you allow yourself, this is good to me, my God. You allow yourself to be pulled into the what's on your mind. And now you have exposed yourself. Now you have opened yourself up to the enemy because now you're telling us that I'm hurt. Now you're telling us that you're depressed. Now you're telling yourself that you're suicidal. Now you're telling us that you're in all of these situations and, they left me and, I can't believe they would do that to me. You have opened yourself up. Can I help you, business owners? When things begin to shift in your business, stop getting on social media and having to talk about, well, they came into my business and they did this and I offer good customer service, and you got to tell, you have opened yourself up and you have exposed yourself to the enemy. Those of you that get on here and you got to talk about your relationships, you have now opened yourself up to the enemy. And then you're going to ask God, where are you? No, the Lord said, no, where are you? Because the Lord said, you called on me and you asked me to rescue you. You called 911 and you said, I need help. But then you turned around and opened up your mouth and now the enemy can locate you. I don't know how I got here, but I'm here. The enemy don't know what you're thinking. That's why it says, what's on your mind? He can't read your mind. However, he can see your posts. However, he can watch your live. However, he's looking at your reels, he's looking at your stories. And you have opened yourself up and you've exposed yourself to the And then we ask God, where is he? And now you're trying to locate 911. You're like, where are you guys? Why aren't you here to rescue me? And 911 is like, why would you open up your mouth? Why? Why would you say something? I told you not to move. Why would you move? Why would you? Some of you have just come out of the closet and you standing in front of the enemy. He got a knife. He got a gun. And you on the phone with 911 like, where are y'all at? Why y'all not here yet? He found me. And they like, yeah, he found you because you opened your mouth. Ain't that crazy? You call 911. That's what God is saying. God is saying, y'all keep calling me to rescue you. You call 911. 911, God, get me out. But then when God gives you instructions, you just bypass his instructions. You do what you want to do. I'm confused. And God is too. Because then after you're exposed to the enemy, then you want to keep asking him, where is he? And he like, why are you asking me where I'm at? I know where you are. And I was trying to get you out. However, you keep falling into the traps. You keep falling into the deception. You keep falling into the distractions. So the Lord said, I know how to find you. Follow the instructions. If he's telling you to hide, if he's telling you to be quiet, I think I've been encountering so many people. Counseling it can be very difficult, you know, because everybody wants to be right, you know? And so it's hard in counseling because I'm not always counseling both parties. Sometimes I'm only counseling one party. And so sometimes in counseling, the one party sometimes gets upset because they want to say what they want to say. However, the 911 instructions are telling you to shut your mouth. The 911 instructions are telling you to be quiet. But because you feel violated, because you feel right, like you don't have no right breaking into my house. We know that. But why would you get in front of you're not going to get in front of somebody that got a gun or a knife and tell them, this is my house. Get out. Like they not going to come and get you. Oh, they're coming to get you. And that's what's happening in some of our lives. I'm counseling these people, and the Lord is saying, be quiet. I know you're right. It is your house. Come on. I know you're right. It's your body. You was violated. I know you're right. They did wrong. However, the instructions are still to close your mouth. But what happens is this. You feel right, so you open your mouth and engage. It's just like if you stood in front of somebody that had a gun or a knife. When you open up your mouth and engage with them, you have now put yourself in the position to be caught in the fire. So all I'm trying to say today is follow the instructions. That's it. I don't know how we shifted to this place, but it's a good place to be in. Because I never thought about it this way. Like, I'm telling you, listen, the Lord is literally downloading while I'm talking. I've never thought about it this way. But however, it's the truth. And so I'm counseling these people. And I'm saying, listen, don't engage. Keep your mouth shut. I don't care that you have receipts. Still shut up. I don't care that you have text messages. Shut your mouth. I don't care what they're texting you. The instruction is don't say nothing back. But then what happens is this. Then this is what happens. Let me tell you, I'm going to give y'all a little insight, okay? I get these messages at midnight, and you want to show me the thread between you and this person that I told you not to talk to, that I told you don't respond. And then the messages come back with, that's why I'm going for custody. When they sent you the message, I told you to be quiet. But you just gotta be right. And so because you just gotta be right, you respond. And now you're mad because now they've responded. And now y'all are in a war through text messages, not even in front of the judge, about custody. Custody that y'all don't even get to determine, but y'all just in a war. Now y'all both riled up. I'm just giving y'all an example, all right, of things that have transpired that I've heard, right, in counseling. Now y'all riled up about counseling that y'all don't get to decide, but it's because you engaged. Either party. It could be a man or a woman. I don't care who you are. When God is telling you to be quiet, he'll tell you, hold your peace, let the Lord fight your battle. And you still want to fight your battle. You know you did everything right in this business, and somebody keep coming at you. And you want to keep going back on the reviews, saying something back, going back on the statuses about what they said. Shut your mouth and be quiet. Follow the instructions. Stop engaging. You argue with your spouse. Why? Shut your mouth. Follow the instructions. Unless the Lord is giving you the language, unless the Lord is giving you what to say, you got to be quiet. Thank you, sis. Good morning. Unless the Lord has given you something to say, don't say nothing. And I don't know why I feel this today, but it's some of y'all that are in some custody battles. There are some of y'all that are in some battles with some men and with some women, vice versa. I don't care who you are. And your instructions are be quiet. Don't post nothing on Facebook. Don't do no videos. Don't do no lives. Don't respond to text messages. Don't say nothing. Nothing. Because when you open up your mouth and you start to speak on things, you have now exposed yourself to the enemy. And I'm not saying they're the enemy, I'm saying to the enemy. All right? So I don't know how we shifted here, but however, this is how we got here. And we got here because the Lord wanted me to tell you that He's 911 and He knows how to locate you. He knows how to find you. He knows exactly where you are. And so, whatever the Lord has told you to do when you called Him, He said, follow the instructions. Yes, sis. We should listen. We should all be here from God in the same lane. We shouldn't be too far from one another. But if the Lord said, like I gave y'all an example, if the Lord said, open up the window, if the Lord says stay hidden, if the Lord said be quiet, sometimes He may say make noise, because that chaos may confuse the enemy. However, don't make no move until you've heard from the Lord. When you get on that call and that 911 person, he says, okay, I know where you are. I'm sending them to you right now. I have dispatched, my Lord. I have dispatched them and they're coming to get you. As long as you can stay on the line with me until they get there. Or sometimes they say, get off the phone. But don't come out until you hear this word. And the Lord wanted me to tell you today that He has people. He has people that are coming to find you, that are coming to rescue you. He's already dispatched people. He's already dispatched His angels. Come on, to find you and to rescue you. But what we cannot continue to do is ask the Lord to rescue us and to continue to find ourselves in situations where we've exposed ourselves to the enemy. Okay? We can't do it. That's all I got for y'all today. This is my go moment. I just came on here and I just let the Lord say what He wanted to say. And then I go. And that's all I have. And so we started out talking about being intentional. And we're still ending in being intentional. Because being intentional means that this is the thing about being intentional. And I'm going to end here. Is that even with what you post, you have to be intentional. Right? Even with what you don't say, you have to be intentional. It's super important. All of it is important. All right. So I love y'all so much. I'm thankful that you guys came to my go moment, my little TED talk, whatever you want to call it, today. Those of you that shared it, joined, commented, I appreciate you guys. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much, Summer. Listen, God is so good. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. Every time He speaks, I'm grateful. And so that's what I came to say today. Let's be intentional. We want to see major moves happen in our life. We want to see success, and we want to be healed. Come on, and we want to be rescued. Come on, I need God to rescue me. I don't know about you. I don't know about none of y'all, but I need God to rescue me. And because I want the Lord to rescue me, I want to do it His way. I can't keep allowing myself to be exposed to the enemy. All right. So I love y'all so much. I pray y'all enjoy y'all Monday. I have a million and one things to do on my list. I have gotten about a bunch of texts and a bunch of emails that I'm about to dive into. However, I'm being intentional about my go moment. And so that didn't matter in this moment. What mattered is right now. And so I'm going to resume back to what I'm doing. But I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Share this on y'all status. Share this on y'all timeline with y'all friends. Tell them, listen, come listen to this message about being intentional and how God will locate you. All right. So I love y'all so much, and I pray y'all have a great day. And even though this is not the well, I'm still going to tell y'all to be well. All right.